Let's do this, people. Woo! How to be a Texan.
You never know when to actually come in.
I don't.
All you got to do is wait for me to go like that.
Oh, did you go?
No, because you already started. This must be an exciting topic. You're just chomping at the bit to get started.
Where do they make paste pecani sauce, Kevin?
New York City.
That's what we're talking about today. Get a rope.
Get a rope.
That's right. That's right. So today we're talking about New York City and differences between Texas and New York. And in particular...
Why are we talking about that? Just
because it's one of our favorite places on the planet to go.
York. Yeah, it's a great place.
You and Kendra love it. Me and Amy love it. Amy's loved it a lot more than me, a lot longer than me.
Every time I go there for work, I make sure to send Amy a text saying, nanny, 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 look where I'm at.
I'm here, you're not, sucker.
Yeah,
and you know, her dad took her growing up.
Yeah.
And they've always gone to see Broadway shows. And so Amy and I met at 28 and married at 29. And our first real trip was to New York City.
1929?
Back in 1904. I'm just kidding.
1936. 1904.
No, she did. Our first trip was to New York, where she introduced me to a Broadway show. I'd never seen a Broadway show. And it was to Ragtime. Ragtime was one of, and it's still number 2 on my list behind Hamilton. But we've seen a ton over the years, and thankfully you guys have gone and seen some too.
First Broadway show I ever saw, I was there on a business trip. I had never seen a Broadway show.
Oh.
In fact, this may have been my second time to go to New York. I had only gone there for work.
Okay.
Once before, this was for work. And so this guy I was with, he used to live up there. He's like, let's go see a show. I'm like, well, how do you do that? He said, we'll just go over here to this TKCS booth.
Oh, yeah.
And you just wait there and you get super cheap tickets.
Right.
So we kind of hung around there, and we went and saw Cats.
Oh, Cats. So weird.
I fell asleep. So
weird.
On Broadway, and I came back and I told Kendra,
Amy loved that.
Kendra loved it too. Kendra had it on VHS. And
I'll admit, okay, so I saw it for the first time. This was just a few years ago. I saw it, and it was a revival. They brought it back, and so we saw it, and I didn't fall asleep. I enjoyed it, but I knew what I was going in for, that it was just weird, psychedelic, tripped out, freaky storyline.
I had no idea.
Because I knew that.
Yeah.
And
that would have helped.
Somebody told me, they said, Kyle, just go in and enjoy the dance part of it. But especially enjoyed that white cat, the lead dancer.
That's racist.
No, she's in the white cat uniform. It's not racist at all. She's clearly, when you see the movie, because they've got a regular motion picture coming out with all these big stars in it, and it's this professional Russian dancer that's the white cat
what
part
was
of
the
it.
name?
No idea.
Stifles or something like that?
Mistopheles?
Mistopheles?
I thought that was one of the devils.
In the Cats movie?
Biblically speaking, Mephistopheles. There's 3 of them. Anywho.
Really?
Yeah,
I
for
had
real.
no idea. So you're saying Cats is satanic?
It could be. Just saying. I don't know about that. But anyway, the point of this conversation is around Texas and New York. What are the differences between us in Texas here and people in New York City? And you've gone there a ton. I've gone there a ton for work, and sure enough, we've gone as 2 couples. This has made our second time, and so what Kevin and I want to kind of laugh about a little bit is some of the funny stories that we had just our last time. The first time we went was 7 years ago, I think, 8 years ago. No, it was 7 years ago. It was in spring of 2012, early summer 2012. And
wow.
It feels like forever ago, but that's right before Amy got bit by a mosquito.
Yeah, that's right before we moved here, I think.
No, it was right after.
For us, because we moved here, I think, in July.
Oh, okay.
I think y'all were out here.
In January, yeah. So regardless, but we went, that was when we were on our big biking thing, and we went as 2 couples out, and we rode the 5-borough ride.
That was an awesome ride.
It was. It was a 41-mile ride around the 5 boroughs of New York City. And there were 40,000 people, and we just had a fantastic time.
I just still can't believe you left me hanging out to dry with the biking shorts, man. You did not wear your biking shorts to the thing.
No.
So I show up with my little tight knit
You looked awesome
spandex
on the subway.
And I had, I wasn't quite in the best shape, and I was still wearing my spandex from the year before. No, it was a little stretched out.
You looked fine.
And we hopped on the subway.
You looked fine. You even had your helmet clipped on.
I did. Or like our friend needs to keep his helmet on. He'll fall down and hurt himself.
Oh my gosh. No, it was good. It was good. And then we really enjoyed it. And the funny thing was on that ride that they had, we got stuck, all of us, about an hour in Harlem. You remember that?
Oh, yeah.
So we started at Battery Park. And we went all the way up through the financial district and up through Times Square. And then we went up through Central Park. Mm-hmm. And then we got up to Harlem. And then it just stopped.
Traffic jam.
Yeah, because, again, there were 40,000 riders. Mm-hmm. We were going – this wasn't like Tour de France. This was – they told us. Because you and I are calling them –
Tour de Fat.
Yeah, Tour de – well, it was Tour de Comfortable.
Yeah, very comfortable.
And they said, no, you'll be on these Dorothy from Kansas bikes with Toto up front, and it's a comfortable – pace the whole way, because you and I were worried. We're like, oh, we need to ship our bikes up, and if it's going to be 41 miles.
And I hadn't been training much at that point.
Right. Yeah. And the girls hadn't either.
Yeah.
And so we were worried. We called and we're like, oh, and then we saw video. And we're like, oh, okay, fine. It's fine. And
it was very comfortable because you were always in a peloton of thousands of people.
Huge.
It was so big that it never splintered apart, really.
It never did.
Yeah.
And it was always fun because you'd have groups riding around you, and they were chatty. Most New Yorkers are not terribly chatty, but of course we are, and we'd start conversations with anybody around us, which that was fun. But the funny thing was about that ride, and we'll move on, but of the 5 boroughs, so you think about it, and I'll list it in order. So we had Manhattan, and then we had Harlem, and then we had the Bronx, and then Queens and Brooklyn.
I don't think Harlem is a borough.
What is
Harlem
Staten Island?
Was part of yes.
Staten Island was the 5th one.
Yeah, and that's the last one. That's where we ended.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that makes sense.
Yeah, Harlem's part of Manhattan, actually.
Oh,
believe it or not.
Oh, well, that makes sense because I was counting. I'm like, is there 6? Because we ended up with a party at Staten Island, which was cool.
Yeah.
But the funny thing was, and I'll let you go. But the funny thing was the Bronx.
Yes.
Where they said. Because we were asking some police officers, we're like, why can't we go into the Bronx? They're like, oh, no, you don't want to go
You'll
in there,
die
sir.
instantly.
So we just touched a corner of it. All 40,000 of us just touched a corner and kept on going down to Queens.
It's kind of like one pedal went over the border to the Bronx, so they could say we did it.
Right. And then
it was over to Queens.
Yeah, which was nice. And then Brooklyn was wonderful.
And then over this big old bridge.
Giant bridge.
And then we rode the ferry back across.
Right. And some of the bridges were hard.
Yes.
Because the incline up to get to the tip of it was so long and at a big pitch.
Mm-hmm. That last one was
huge.
Of a challenge.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah,
it was a total pain. We were all just dog cussing. We're like, okay, this is actually hard.
Yeah.
So, but whatever. That was fun.
That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, that was fun. And I don't know if I'll ever do that again, but it was fun. So I enjoyed that. I'm still on the email list, all those whatever.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Okay, so there's an article that we wanted to talk through, and it's 10 differences between Texas and New York that are bigger than the state itself. Okay, and so what I wanted to do was kind of hit on that, and then Kevin and I can talk about, and we got Andrew here. Andrew the Cougher's here. And we've got – just kidding.
It's National Cougher Day.
Oh, congratulations. You're representing. So okay, so here's one of the differences: soft smiling at strangers that you make eye contact with.
I probably did this 100 times on this trip.
I did too. And so the first trip we did was 7 years ago, and we did it for the bike ride. The second trip, Amy and I just turned 50, and we did that. Kevin and Kendra went with us to celebrate our 50th. Literally, we went on Amy's birthday and spent 5 days there, and just
that was a lot of fun.
Had a blast.
Saw Hamilton.
Y'all saw Hamilton, and we saw a bunch of other shows, but y'all were able to see Hamilton, which was awesome.
So I definitely did that.
So soft smiling at strangers that you make eye contact with. You did that.
I definitely do that.
I do that
just
all the time.
Habit.
It is. You kind of make eye contact.
And you feel like an idiot.
You give them a head nod, or you wave at them.
Flip you off.
How you doing? New Yorkers are not into that.
It's like that guy in Brooklyn that was writing the poems, and I've got this on video.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm sure you'll talk about this guy later, but I've got it on video, and I walk up, and I'm like, hey, do you mind if I take your picture? You know. And he just kind of gives me a quick head nod.
He did.
And I didn't even notice that while we were there, I thought he ignored me. Totally.
No,
but when I went back and watched the video, I saw him give a little head nod.
He gave you the head nod because he was writing his poem.
Yeah, he was writing
Somebody
a poem.
Somebody had already paid for a poem, and he was trying to, but he was looking up to get kind of deep thought or whatever.
Yeah.
And
he's like, shut up, you hillbilly.
But I do that a lot. And, I noticed that eye contact, I make that, like, especially flying in airports. I do that a lot. I'll be just walking through and I'll keep my head up. And people, they don't do that anymore. They got their head down. They're looking at their phone. Mm-hmm. And it's weird.
It's weird.
But I'm like, hey, how you doing? Okay, so soft smiling at strangers, you make eye contact with. Absolutely. Apologize. Number 2, apologizing after bumping into someone.
I do that all the time, too.
I did that in New York.
And I feel like an idiot after I do it.
Yeah, because they're like, whatever.
Yeah.
Move on.
Or they kill you.
Yeah, or they stab you. Stab you in the eye. So we did a lot of that. Yeah. And then number 3 is the quality of Mexican food.
You don't go to New York to get Mexican food.
No, they've got...
You don't even think about it.
No.
New York has amazing food.
Amazing
food.
But not Mexican
Why would they
food.
even put Mexican food on this list?
No.
Well, I guess because it's better here.
It's way better. Yeah, you can get actual Mexican food here, like legit. And then... number 4 is 40 degrees in the morning, 80 in the afternoon.
Yeah. I remember some of that going on.
Pleasant in New York. It's just a scorch fest here.
Yeah.
You wake up, it's 100. You go to bed, it's still 100.
Right.
And you're just sweating.
But at least you know how to dress here.
You do.
Yeah. New York, you walk out, you got to be warm, and by the afternoon, you're sweating it out.
You have your scarf on.
Yeah. Yeah, I usually wear my scarf.
I just wanted to see if you saw that. Catch that or not. And then number 5, it says income taxes.
State income tax doesn't exist in Texas.
Yeah, we don't have that here.
That's a good thing.
Yeah, number 6 is sweet tea.
Sweet tea, you don't get good sweet tea.
You're not going to get that. And sweet tea's not as big in the big cities in Texas anymore. If you go out rural, there's a lot in the cafes and whatever, there's a lot of sweet tea. Mm-hmm. And then you go over to the Tennessees and Georgias and all that, there's still sweet tea everywhere.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
But definitely not in New York.
Yeah.
And then number 7, it says Southern accents are cute. Well, I can't help it.
I can't help it.
Yeah, I can't help being real cute. I'm just kidding. No, my accent is, and I think that's what they're saying is the New Yorkers think, oh, well, look at that cute little Southern accent. Aren't you cute? Well, what are we going to do? Now, we've talked about this before.
What are we going to do?
Yeah, just enjoy the cuteness. No, what I've talked to you about before is that when I get up there, then I've noticed I have to speed up my cadence, and I don't kind of Matthew McConaughey it as much.
Oh, yeah.
Where I'm
order your coffee, order your donut, whatever, to move along.
Yeah, that's the mode you get into.
You do. You just are efficient. And
said, hey, good morning. How y'all doing?
How y'all doing?
What kind of donuts do y'all have? Shut up, mister.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. So I think that's kind of cute, but they don't. They don't think that is cute. And number 8 is, I don't understand this, what going out for coffee means.
What this is saying that if you're in Texas, going out for coffee means you get in your car, you drive, you find a little shop, you kind of get your fufu latte, whatever.
Right.
I don't know how true this is. This is in New York, meeting someone for coffee basically means bring your laptop because you're going to be working anyway and just pretending to socialize. I don't know how true that is.
That's lame. Yeah. If you're going to go to coffee with somebody, go and enjoy it. You know what I mean?
Remember that coffee we had, Cafe Grumpy? Remember that place?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was good coffee.
That was good coffee.
I just like the name, Cafe Grumpy.
I did too. It smelled so good.
Cafe Grumpy.
That was fun because you're a huge coffee drinker. I drink my Folgers or whatever.
Huge.
I'm a huge coffer.
Yeah.
Huge.
And so in New York, there's all these cool little coffee shops everywhere, which was fun.
Yeah.
And so you and I found a couple of those, which was cool.
Yeah.
And then number 9, the culture of always working. So I do get that in New York City, especially Manhattan or the financial district. It feels like there's a lot of work going on all the time. You just need to be working all the time. And if you're not, you're a big freaking loser.
You know,
I get that.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, I think there's a whole lot of working going on here, too.
There's a whole lot of work.
I don't know. I mean, I even like the coffee shop thing. Most people in coffee shops here have their laptops open.
Yeah,
working.
I literally do. I will literally meet people, and we will just sit there and talk. Eyeball to eyeball, and we'll talk deep stuff.
Yeah.
And I just did that yesterday morning for an hour with a guy. And I enjoy it. But
did he enjoy it?
I don't know about that.
I was like, I enjoy it. Sit here and listen to me for an hour.
That's right. I was reading him some of my poems that I wrote. I'm kidding. I didn't. But I do think that culture, especially with, investment banking and all that other stuff, they're when I run across them, they're working all the time. And number 10, everything is so expensive. And I do think New York, cost of living, it just feels higher.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, than Texas. So.
But some things aren't. I mean, it is overall, for sure.
I would think so.
But you can get away, like if you live in the city, you can get away with like not owning a car.
Right.
Get rid of car insurance, all that crap.
But I will
parking.
I will say all my impressions of being in and out of New York so many times are the people in New York City, they're not unfriendly.
No, they are.
They're actually
I love New York
quite
people. Yeah.
inviting, fun people.
Yes.
That's what I like. And the fun thing is it's such an eclectic international melting pot. You just never know what you're going to get because there's 10 million people there on the island, and you get them from every walk from Earth. But then you've got a lot that have been there. Their families have been there forever. We grew up in the Bronx, that kind of a thing, forever. And there's so much pride. And I do love that.
When I was young, I started working up there, and I was doing consulting for the March of Dimes, I think it was.
Oh, yeah.
Are they the ones that do it might have been the leukemia. No, it wasn't March of Dimes. It was Leukemia Center of America.
Okay.
It was a nonprofit.
Yeah.
And, I've been to New York maybe once or twice, didn't really know what to expect. But I ended up going up there several times, and I was working with, and this was a nonprofit organization in Manhattan. And it was all these little old ladies from the Queens.
Oh.
And so they would commute. There was they were all like Edith Bunker,
That's so great.
And they were so sweet.
Just cute and sweet.
When we got pregnant with Andrew, they actually bought me from Tiffany's a little piggy bank.
Oh.
From Tiffany's. It was like blue because they found out it was a boy.
Yeah.
Sent that down.
I remember that.
Yeah, you remember that? That's from these little old ladies in Queens.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Yeah, because they just thought I was this young whippersnapper from Texas. They just loved me.
Oh, that's so fun.
So I thought, wow, man, these people are really good.
No, they are.
Yeah,
they are. No, they're different. It's just a different way of life.
Yeah, we met a lot of really helpful people on that last trip.
Yeah.
Up there.
Yeah,
like that bellboy at the hotel.
Yeah, the bellhop at the hotel.
Bellhop at the hotel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you remember his name?
Derek.
Derek. So yeah, the thing is that we wanted to go to Brooklyn, so we hadn't spent any time in Brooklyn, and Brooklyn's kind of this burgeoning whatever. It just is a cool place to live now, and they've spent a lot of money on the infrastructure, and it's just a great place to live as a young family, and you don't feel like you're just bottled in quite as much as if you're on Manhattan. Now, the problem is a lot of buddies that live in Brooklyn, they have to take that ferry back and forth every day for work, which, whatever, they don't care. But we were talking about going over and spending time there and shopping and looking around, whatever. So you asked Derek, the bellhop.
No, I didn't ask Derek. That's the funny thing. If you think about it, we were actually talking to some other bellhop. We just walked out.
Oh, yeah.
And I think it was this Indian dude.
Okay.
And he's like, telling us how to get to Brooklyn. He's like, take this, subway or something. I don't remember the details of it. And then Derek busts in. He's like, "Nah, you don't want to do that. Come on.
So
you have to walk 22 blocks once you get to Queens, and you got to walk in. Give me a break." You know, and he starts going on, and he gives us this whole complicated route.
Yeah, take the 6.
Yeah, take the 6 over here and cut over that. And so we're like, and somehow
Derek seems to know what he's doing.
Yeah, basically what I think he was telling us to do was take a subway to the Brooklyn Bridge and then walk across the Brooklyn Bridge.
And that's what we did.
That's what we did.
Yeah, that's what we did. And it was still 22 blocks. We walked at least 22 blocks.
Getting home was 22 blocks also.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the Brooklyn Bridge going across was, I don't know, how far is that
It
thing?
was at least a mile. Easy. A mile and a half walk. It was. It felt like forever.
It was a walk, but we took a lot of pictures.
We
on
took
that bridge.
4 billion pictures, and the funniest picture on there, I still love. Well, there was 2 funny ones. There was one of the girl Amy and Kendra were taking. The 2 wives were taking a selfie of themselves. I was taking a picture of them taking a selfie, and then
I
Kevin
was taking a picture. Kyle taking a picture of them taking a selfie.
But the best one was that you were taking a video of Kendra and Amy, and they thought you were taking a picture, and they were smiling and posing, and you're like, I'm taking a video.
And they're like, then they both just flipped me off immediately.
So great. It was so great.
And then there's that one where people were getting their picture made with the buildings in the background.
Yeah.
And then you had some picture of me making the worst face ever.
Yeah. No,
but with the beautiful buildings in the background.
I tried to get the worst pose for Kevin, and that would be how I memorialize that moment. So
Derek was helpful.
Yeah, I will say the other kind of thing that we were trying to do on our 5-day trip up there was not use Uber or Lyft or cabs as much as possible. We got the 7-day pass, and we were trying to just maximize it because it's so cheap. You buy whatever, the 7-day pass, it's cheap, and you can go everywhere in the island or really within the boroughs.
The previous trip we had done, we took Andrew and Aaron with us, and Andrew
he got it.
Helped us figure out the subway really quickly on that trip. I don't know if you remember that, Andrew.
Well, there's something about that.
Andrew's just like, I'm just using the app, Dad. You're an idiot. You could do the same thing.
No, it's more than that.
Yeah, those are my exact words.
No. I wish we had Andrew with us because we got lost. Y'all got lost. We got separated, and then somehow we found it. Whatever. But it was because in my mind, I can't. It's amazing how much now, as I go and drive around, I look for directions. I look for kind of icons that I can tag into and remember. I'm like, oh, there's the Dallas skyline. I'm good. I need to go that way. And you're underground. You can't see anything. You have no idea which direction you're going. And I got turned around.
And a lot of times it'll say, get on this train.
Yeah.
So you walk to that train, but then that train's going one way on one side of the street, and then on the other side of the street.
Yeah.
And you can't get to it unless you go back up. Remember, we did that a lot.
That's right.
We'd go up, we'd go over, go down the other side.
Yeah, up on the street.
Because otherwise we'd be going the wrong way.
That's right. That's right.
So it took us quite a while to figure that stuff out, too.
Well, so to continue that, so we did make it one day. We made it over to the Brooklyn Bridge, kept on going, and then we got over to this, what's it called? It's not Strasburger. It was, what was the name of that smorgasbord? No, it was the smorgasbord. Or something like Smorgasburg in Brooklyn, and it was awesome. It was like this little tent village of all these food trucks and tents of every conceivable type of food.
I gained like 5 pounds there.
Well,
because you took a picture of me after that, and suddenly my shirt was skin tight.
Very tight.
And I've been wearing the shirt all day.
It was
bad.
Well, we had done.
It was horrific.
The funny thing was because we were done and we had eaten probably 8 or 10 different things, and then we're done and we're stuffed and Amy and Kendra were done and they were sitting there waiting on us to finish. And then you came over with a chili feast cheesesteak, a Philly cheesesteak, and I'm like, what?
The big one.
Yeah,
it was legit. I had just seen a video the night before on what an actual legitimate Philly cheesesteak is, and I saw it. I was like, oh, they're doing it the right way. I got to try this.
I couldn't believe it. And yes, I did help him. So
yeah, it was good.
It was amazing.
Cheese whiz all over it.
Oh, cheese whiz. Who does that? Oh, but guys,
that's legit.
Yeah, that was great. And then, so that was good.
But getting back was a challenge.
Getting back was that's what I was trying to get to because we couldn't. There was all this under construction. We ran into the police officer over there, and he was in a vest. He was just standing there, making sure everybody was doing the right thing. And I'll never forget his reaction to me. I'm like, sir, can you tell us how to get back to the subway station?
Because we kept seeing signs that said the subway was closed.
It was closed.
The subway's closed. And you said, how do we get back to Manhattan is what your question was.
Right. But no, I was trying to just find a subway station.
Right. But there was a station there with a sign that said closed. That's why you're asking the guy.
That's right. But his reaction was, what, you mean that one there?
Other than that train right there?
It was so offensive.
Yeah.
I mean, he was so off-put by my idiotic question. I'm like, sir, do you know how to get back to the subway? And he was like, other than that one,
what it was saying is that there will be waits of like 20 minutes in between trains and stuff like that. So you were trying to say, is there a better way?
Right.
He was no help at all. And it took us like 2 hours to get back.
It took forever.
It was ridiculous.
Yeah, it took us forever. Now, in Brooklyn, I will say we found another young man that was inspirational to me. I love writing poetry. I'm not very good at it, but I love it. But there was this young man. He literally had like a folding table, an old-timey typewriter, and he was sitting out there. And he
sitting on the corner.
He was sitting on the corner of some intersection, and it said,
free poems.
No, it wasn't free. I think he took a tip, right? He had a tip jar, I thought.
I think he did. Yeah.
Yeah. And so he would write you a poem.
What did his sign say?
It was great.
I've got a picture of him somewhere.
That guy's great. If we can put the picture of him on our notes to the episode, it's worth seeing because he was a striking young man.
It is.
And
custom poems is what it says.
I thought he charged at least $1.
Yeah, it says custom.
He didn't. Yeah, in there he didn't say. And so he had these really cool kind of horn rim glasses on, really cool beard. Just a good-looking fella, and Kevin was asking him if he could take a picture.
I take a video or a picture? He gave me the look.
Gave you a head nod because he was trying to think. He was writing a poem.
Writing a custom poem for this girl.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
No, it was good. So then we made it back. Kevin and I did our tradition of annoying the girls and eating ice cream. We have that at the Brooklyn Bridge. We got our ice cream. That was really good. And then we got back. So some of the other funny items that we did was always about kind of the take the six it felt like we needed to take the six everywhere.
Take the six.
Yeah. So like we would meet up at different restaurants or different places or whatever. And sure enough, because of where we were on Lexington Avenue, the hotel that was kind of home base for us, it was the 6 that ran underneath Lexington Avenue, and that's where we would end up going. And then all those cross that were the numbers go kind of crisscross, and then it was the letters go crisscross and the numbers go horizontal.
I can't remember.
Yeah, something like that.
Something like that.
But it was kind of indecipherable.
But we got stuck on this phrase because of Derek the
take the 6.
Yeah.
That's right.
Well, it was take the 6, and then it was also like forget about it. Yeah. He was like, forget about it. I'm just a guy from Brooklyn. What do I know? Or I'm just a boy from Brooklyn. Forget about it.
Yeah.
So we kept saying forget about it over and over until Kendra and Amy were just like, you got to shut up.
Right. And then we there was one night where you guys wasted an inordinate amount of money. Like we saw a show, y'all saw a show, and we're like, hey, we're gonna meet you back. And so we were walking back to the hotel, and then we get a video or FaceTime from y'all saying, we just took this what?
It was one of those bicycle cab things where you get in and the guy's bicycling you. But if you remember, we also passed y'all.
And it was raining.
Y'all were standing on the corner by this Chick-fil-A. And we rode right by you, and we were like waving, hey! And then we said, can we go pick up our friends? And he said, no.
Yeah.
No, we can only fit 2 people in here.
Nice.
Like, okay.
Yeah.
And so then he drove us around. We went like around half of a block.
Yeah. And then we
got out.
And then we had walked to where we're going to meet to the subway station to go up to Alexander's original home.
Right. And we got out, and I'm like, how much? He says $67. What?
We walked there for free.
Out of your mind?
Yeah, we walked there for free.
But I think we had been at separate shows or something, right? And then we were going to find each other after that.
Yeah, we found each other. We got on another train, and I think that's when we went up to Alexander Hamilton's original home up in Harlem.
Something like that, yeah.
Something like that. But
and then the night in Little Italy was fun.
Now that was fun.
Dinner.
Yeah, we went to the same restaurant we've gone to multiple times, and then Kevin and I just were exploring. The girls were exploring. We were exploring, and we went to this cheese shop, and they were closing
Before
up.
that, it was Tony's gift shop. Remember? Tony's gift shop.
Tony's gift shop.
Yeah. And we walk up and we're rifling through this stuff and we're doing our, forget about it, and all this crap. And this little Asian lady was sitting out there on the sidewalk, and she wanted to. What did she ask us? She was trying to sell us something. And we were just like, forget about it.
No, I was looking at license plates. I love license plates.
That's what it was.
But she wanted like $20 for a lot. I'm like, I'm not paying that.
Yeah. So then as we were walking away, we heard her say, forget about it. You remember that?
Yeah. Okay, that was great. But then we met the cheese shop guy that we talked to for probably a half hour.
He was so annoyed with us at the beginning, though.
At the beginning, he thought we were a couple of loser jerks.
Well, we came in, and we didn't know that they were closed. So we
Right.
walk into this cheese shop, and we're like, oh, man.
It's amazing.
And he's back here trying to mop the floor, and he's like, can I help y'all?
Yeah.
Or help you guys with something? Like, no, we're just looking around. He's like, well, we're closed.
Yeah.
I was like, oh,
Yeah.
okay.
We didn't know. We're like, this place is amazing.
Yeah, so I said, well, y'all have some really good-looking cheese here.
Yeah,
you
and
know?
then he came out, and then he just opened it up like a
So
butterfly.
after that, he met us outside, and he's like, yeah, you really like cheese? He told us all these stories
All
about
these stories, and then it was, meet me back here tomorrow at 9 a.m.
He said Sean will be here.
Sean.
You got to meet Sean tomorrow.
You gotta
He'd tell
meet-
you all about these cheese, what goat it came from, and which side of the mountain the goat was on when it was peeing. That's literally what he said.
Yeah, that's literally, he said, meet Sean here 9 a.m. tomorrow.
Yeah.
And we didn't do it.
No, we didn't. We didn't. And what else was he talking about? He went on some other rant about something where he was telling us about Mr. Bubbles and all that. You remember?
But I don't know. I just remember laughing at him because he was awesome and a lot of color.
Yeah, he was like,
Yeah.
we didn't have, what was it? Something we didn't have growing up. We were just happy with what we had. All we got was Mr. Bubbles at bedtime.
Yeah.
And, some kind of crap like that.
Well, you guys had a good late night experience when Amy and I went to bed one night, and then you guys went out to the food truck, some famous
The
food
halal
truck.
guys.
And then you saw the pot truck, right?
We did.
That was great.
Popcorn. Popcorn is what was painted on this guy's truck.
Oh, my God.
So we were in a taxi, and this guy pulls up, and he says something. He tries to sell some pot through the window of our taxi cab.
Oh, yeah.
And he uses some code word like 411, right? 411.
I don't know
Is
what
411 the day?
420.
420. Yes. So he pulls up, and he says something about 420, and I know what that means. I'm like, nah, man, we're good. And then I look at his truck, and his entire truck has a wrap on it. It says pot corn. Not popcorn, pot.
Great.
Corn. And it's like these, bags of popcorn that are overflowing, but then with like marijuana leaves in the background decorating all this stuff. I was like, what is this?
Yeah.
It was crazy.
And then y'all
I guess
went,
it's legal up there, though.
I guess. And then you went and got some.
Went to halal guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty amazing, right?
Yeah. It was really good.
That was good. And then
Really
I did find the most boring job ever. Remember we saw Alexander Hamilton's original house?
Oh, yeah.
And there was a park ranger that had to sit there.
In the house. Yeah.
Oh, my God. And she said there were generally two of them in there.
Yeah.
That had to be the most boring job ever because nobody came in.
No.
We went in.
We went in and we pushed all the buttons on the displays. I'm sure she was ready for us to get out of here. She's like, okay, we already had a first grade field trip in here.
Oh my gosh! And then y'all went to a comedy club one night, and that was pretty amazing.
That was amazing.
Yeah.
So Kendra had booked, knowing that I'm a Seinfeld junkie.
Right.
She booked us at this little tiny comedy club called the Gotham Comedy Club.
Yeah. But Seinfeld wasn't on the ticket.
No, there was just a bunch of random guys because it's just a small comedy club.
Yeah,
But she
it's
said, I think it'd be kind of cool because Jerry Seinfeld has known to kind of just show up here and try out new material.
Yeah.
I was like, oh wow. So whatever. So we go there, and there's about probably 7 comedians on the little lineup, and nobody that I'd really heard of.
Were they funny?
They were okay.
Okay.
But what happened was, the MC comes out. He kind of warms up the crowd.
Yeah.
He's kind of, picking on people, stuff like that. And then he calls the first guy up, just some guy I'd never heard of. He's okay, And so the MC would come back after each and kind of, tell another couple jokes and introduce the next guy. So the first guy, he comes back up and, kind of does this thing. And he says, okay, let's welcome to the stage Jim Gaffigan.
That's so great.
The place goes nuts. Jim Gaffigan's a pretty big name.
You think they're
He was
kidding.
not on the list. Yeah.
Right.
Here walks the actual Jim Gaffigan.
No.
We're like, oh, man, this is awesome. It really does happen. A famous comedian will show up, We just thought that was it, man. So Jim Gaffigan does his thing. And then the MC comes back, tells another couple jokes. He's like, "Hey, let's welcome to the stage, Jerry Seinfeld." And I mean, the whole place just exploded.
Oh my god!
Jerry Seinfeld comes out. I mean, this place is tiny,
and
little place.
It was a Monday night.
It's a Monday night,
right?
And he did his thing. He was trying to work out some new material.
Okay.
But then, people in the audience would yell out, do this bit. So he did a couple of the old things, did the new. And then he took questions from the audience. He always does that.
Oh, my gosh. I just remember
great guy.
Y'all texted us that all that was happening. It's just going crazy.
It was crazy.
So awesome.
Man.
What are the odds?
Well, it was unbelievable.
Yeah.
So that was the grand finale on
no
that
kidding.
trip.
No
that trip
kidding.
for us.
And then we left the next day. So it was awesome. But
and that had been a rough day because that was the day I kept tripping over every curb. Every curb I encountered that day, I tripped.
You did.
It was so stupid.
You didn't face plant at all, but you
it was
probably
pretty
tripped
close.
10, 15 times. Because we walked everywhere. I mean, that's the beautiful thing about New York is you walk and walk and walk.
Yeah.
And you were tripping a lot.
Yeah.
I was afraid you were having a stroke.
Yeah. No, it was pretty close, I think. Might have been a 24-hour mini stroke.
Yeah, there you go. All right. Well, hey, we love New York City. If you guys get a chance, there are obviously differences between Texans and New Yorkers, but some very friendly people up there for the most part.
I agree. Love New York. Love the people. Love the place. Wouldn't want to live there, really.
No, me
I've never
either.
wanted that. But
Amy always says that she could have lived there for a year, and I don't think I could.
Maybe if I was super young again, I might be able to.
As opposed to now.
Yeah, but I've never had it in me to say, I want to move off to New York and live my dreams out up there.
I do get claustrophobic, I feel like I just need some
space
to see the landscape.
Yeah.
That's not a building.
Yeah. No, that's rough.
But we love it. We love
Central Park's nice, though.
It is nice.
Yeah.
It is nice. Yeah. I used to go up there and I used to play Pokemon Go.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. It was fantastic. I mean, a bunch of little Asian teenagers.
That's weird.
Just saying.
It's a weird thing
That's what
to
I
say.
used to do.
I was there last week, and I did something I've never done before.
Oh.
I was going in for a conference, and all the hotels were outrageously expensive because it was this conference I was going to. Then it was UN week. The UN was going on last week.
Right.
It was just terrible.
Right.
And so a coworker of mine who used to live up there, he lives in California now, he said, "You know what I do?" He said, "I stay across the river in New Jersey, and I just take the ferry over."
Oh.
So I started looking, and I found this nice Marriott autographed property.
Oh, yeah.
And there was a ferry station right across the street.
Oh,
and
awesome.
the ferry, and I was almost literally across the river from the convention center. I could see it.
Oh.
So I was able to walk through. There's no security on these ferries. You can buy the tickets on your phone.
Oh.
So I just, as I'm walking on, I would buy a ticket, scan it, get on the ferry, and right into.
Oh, wow.
That was so easy. It was so cool.
That is so cool.
Great view, too.
Really?
Yeah, because you could see the whole Manhattan skyline at
So you
night.
stayed on the Jersey side.
Yeah, so on the Jersey
I've
side.
never done that.
I'd never done that.
We just watched a special over 9/11, and it was around how the ferries responded. Because at the time on the island, there was no way to get out. There was no way to move, and all the ferries, they forgot their schedule, and they're like, we're going to go save New York. And so they got, I think it was 250,000 people basically off the island.
Wow.
In less than 24 hours.
Yep.
Because they all band together, and they said, fine, we're going to get our people out.
Well, that reminds me, this guy that told me to stay on the Jersey side, he also told me, because he's done that on several trips.
Yeah.
He said there was do you remember when that airplane crashed in the Hudson River?
Yeah.
Sully.
He's
from Texas. We should do an episode on him, by the way.
Sully. Hero.
Anyway, the ferries were going out and picking up people and taking them off that airplane back out. Yeah. And then there was kind of one ferry. So he had watched either a documentary or a movie. It might have been a documentary. Mm-hmm. And it kind of covered this one ferry boat. And he ended up riding that ferry one day.
Oh, really?
Just by random chance, he gets on. He's like, "Oh, wow, I recognize this name." And he started talking to the crew, and the crew's like, "Yeah, we were there.
Wow.
Yeah, we were pulling people out of the water and stuff like that."
Oh, wow.
How cool is that?
That's very cool.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, that's the most moving thing that I've ever experienced. I was there. Amy and I were on a trip 3 weeks after 9/11. I think it was 3 or 4 weeks. And it was, buildings still smoking, all the debris, all that. And we just had I think it was actually it may have been 8 weeks after. It was really a Christmas trip. It was around Thanksgiving. And Amy couldn't go. It was too powerful for her. She couldn't go to Ground Zero, but I couldn't help it. It was magnetic to me. I just had to go see it.
Yeah.
And I had to go walk around it. And I did. And it was unbelievably powerful.
Yeah, I did that too. It was about maybe a month after.
Yeah.
And I remember just on the fences, there were still just wall-to-wall flowers and posters.
Right.
And
that's right.
I went into some little chapel or Catholic church there. I can't remember, but it was just full of all this stuff.
The thing that struck me were you go by all the firehouses, because all the firehouses are embedded within the buildings. Like you could just go down a block and there'll be a firehouse basically at the bottom of a massive building. And there are all these basically little shrines to all the firemen and police officers or specifically the firemen out of those houses that had been lost that were amazing. I mean,
it's just crazy. Crazy.
But, okay. Yep. All right. Well, hey, appreciate you all listening to us talk about the difference between New York and Texas. I know it's a bit of a stretch on how to be a Texan, but I do encourage you because, I mean, we love it going to New York. The talent on Broadway is amazing. The food there's amazing. The shopping's amazing.
I think we're getting a little bit better at it. First time it was kind of like an episode of Idiot Abroad.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, but no, this is fun.
I love New York.
Yeah, we do too. All right, hey, thanks for listening. Take care.
Adios. Bye.